What's good, everybody? Mr. Peters. We're back at it again with another math video. Today, we're talking about completing the square. It's going to be an introductory video. So, I'm going to show you guys some basic tips and techniques to solve by completing the square. So, what you see on my screen right now, guys, this is a trinomial. And typically, when we're working with the complete the square method, we want to work with a perfect square trinomial. And we want to take it from its current version on the screen and we want to transform it to look something like this. So it's going to be a square term and then equal to something on the other side. So what you see in red, guys, this is the version we're trying to switch it over to. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So the very first step is to move our constant to the other side of the equation, right? So we'll use our inverse operations. And when we rewrite this equation now, we're going to have x squared minus 4x is equal to positive 5. Now you may be wondering, Mr. Peters, why'd you leave a space? Reason being is we're going to add something to both sides later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a nice little white line just to make sure we don't forget that we're going to use that space, right? So for us to figure out what that term is that we're adding, we're going to look at our x term, right? We're going to focus on the coefficient, which is -4. So when we're completing the square, we always take that middle term, that x term, and we're going to basically divide it by 2. And then once we divide by 2, we're going to square that answer. So once we simplify, we're going to get -2 squared and we'll get 4 once we square it, right? So now this is the number that we're going to add to both sides. So I'm going to put +4 on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to put +4 on the right-hand side. All right, guys? And at this step right here, we're going to start cleaning it up. So what we need to know is that whatever we divided that middle term by, that's what's going to be our binomial, our perfect square. So this is what I mean. This trinomial now is going to simplify to x minus 2 squared. So understand, guys, when we expand this binomial, meaning x minus 2 times x minus 2, we're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. So we've completed that square. We're partially there. And then now we're going to go on the other side now and combine 5 and 4 to get 9. Now at this step, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to try to solve for x. And the way that we do that is we're going to take the square root of both sides, okay? And what happens here at this step is our exponent is going to cancel out. So on the left-hand side, we're left with x minus 2 is now equal to, and just remember, guys, when we take the square root of a number, when we're talking about complete the square, we're going to have two answers, right? So just understand when you see this plus or minus the square root of 9, we're going to have two answers. Because typically what happens is if you square it, if you're going to have a negative answer and a positive answer. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So once we simplify in the next step, we have x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus 3 because we know that 9 is a perfect square. Now, the plus or minus means we're going to have two different answers. And the reason being is because if you take -3 and you square it, you're going to get positive 9, just like if you did with positive 3. So, this is the reason why we have two answers, and that's where that plus or minus comes from. Now, what I like to do at this step, we're basically done, guys, but this last step could be very confusing. But before I tell you this last tip, if you found this video helpful, I'm going to ask that you guys smash the like button for us and leave any comments below if this video helped you guys out today. All right, so last step now, what we want to do is we're going to split this into two different equations, and we're going to solve for both of them. So my first one, I have x minus 2 is equal to positive 3, right? And then my second one will be x minus 2 is equal to negative 3. So at this very last step, guys, what we're going to do now is solve for x. So we solve for x, and we're going to get x is equal to 5, or we're going to say that x is equal to negative 1. So when we're talking about completing the square, guys, this is how you do it. This is an introductory video. We hope that you found this video helpful today. I'm Mr. Peters. This is Algebra with Mr. Peters, and we're talking about the introduction, I'm sorry, to completing the square. Thank you guys for joining us today.